Hello everyone. Today you're going to hear Class 9th Economics Chapter 1 Story of Village Palampur. Overview. The purpose of the story is to introduce some basic concepts relating to production, and this we do through a story of a hypothetical village called Palampur. Farming is the main activity in Palampur, whereas several other activities such as small scale manufacturing, dairy, transport, etc., are carried out on a limited scale. These production activities need various types of resources: natural resources, man made items, human effort, money, etc. As we read through the story of Palampur, we will learn how various resources combine to produce the desired goods and services in the village. Introduction. Palampur is well connected with neighboring villages and towns. Raiganj, a big village, is 3 km from Palampur. An all-weather road connects the village to Raiganj and further on to the nearest small town of Shahapur. Many kinds of transport are visible on this road, starting from bullock cart, tangas, bogies means wooden cart drawn by buffaloes loaded with jaggery and other commodities, to motor vehicles like motorcycles, jeeps, tractors and trucks. This village had about 450 families belonging to several different castes. The 80 upper caste families own the majority of land in the village. Their houses, some of them are quite large, are made up of brick with cement plastering. The scheduled caste, Dalits, comprise one-third of the population and live in one corner of the village and is much smaller houses, some of which are of mud and straw. Most of the houses have electric connections. Electricity powers all the tube wells in the fields and is used in various types of small businesses. Palampur has 2 primary schools and 1 high school. There is a primary healthcare center run by the government and 1 private dispensary where the sick are treated. The description above shows that Palampur has fairly well developed system of road, transport, electricity, irrigation, school and health center. Compare these facilities with those in your nearby village. The story of Palampur, an imaginary village, will take us through the different types of production activities in the village. In villages across India, farming is the main production activity. The other production activities referred to as non-farm activities include small manufacturing, transport, shopkeeping, etc. We shall take a look at both these types of activities after learning a few general things about production. Organization of production. The aim of production is to produce the goods and services that we want. There are 4 requirements for production of goods and services. The first requirement is land and other natural resources such as water, forest, minerals. The second requirement is labor, that is, people who will do the work. Some production activities require highly educated workers to perform the necessary task. Other activities require workers who can do manual work. Each worker is providing the labor necessary for production. The third requirement is physical capital, that is, the variety of inputs required at every stage during production. What are the items that come under physical capital? First, tools, machines, buildings. Tools and machines range from very simple tools such as a farmer's plow to sophisticated machines such as generators, turbines, computers, etc. Tools, machines, buildings can be used in production over many years and are called fixed capitals. Raw materials and money in hand is the second one. Production requires a variety of raw materials such as the yarn used by the weavers and the clay used by the potters. Also, some money is always required during production to make payments and buy other necessary items. Raw materials and money in hand are called working capital. Unlike tools, machines, and buildings, these are used up in production. There is a fourth requirement too. You will need knowledge and enterprise to be able to put together land, labor, and physical capital and produce an output either to use yourself or to sell it in the market. This these days is called human capital. We shall learn more about human capital in the next chapter. Every production is organized by combining land, labor, physical capital, and human capital, which are known as factors of production. As we read through the story of Palampur, we will learn more about the first three factors of production. For convenience, we will refer to the physical capital as the capital in this chapter. Farming in Palampur. First, land is fixed. Farming is the main production activity in Palampur. 75% of the people who are working are dependent on farming for their livelihood. They could be farmers or farm laborers. The well being of these people is closely related to production on the farms. But remember that there is a basic constraint in raising farm production. Land areas under cultivation is practically fixed. Since 1960 in Palampur, there has been no expansion in land area under cultivation. By then, some of the wastelands in the village had been converted to cultivable land. There exists no further scope to increase farm production by bringing new land under cultivation. Second, is there a way one can grow more from the same land? In the kind of crops grown and facilities available, Palampur would resemble a village of the western part of the state of Uttar Pradesh. All land is cultivated in Palampur. No land is left idle. During the rainy season, means Kharif season, farmers grow jawar and bajra. These plants are used as cattle feed. It is followed by cultivation of potato between October and December. In the winter season, rabi season, fields are sown with wheat. From the wheat produced, farmers keep enough wheat for the family's consumption and sell the surplus wheat at the market at Raiganj. A part of the land area is also devoted to sugar cane, which is harvested once every year. Sugarcane in its raw form or as jaggery is sold to traders in Shahapur. The main reason why farmers are able to grow three different crops in a year in Palampur is due to the well developed system of irrigation. Electricity came early to Palampur. Its major impact was to transform the system of irrigation. Persian wheels were till then used by farmers to draw water from the wells and irrigate small fields. People saw that the electric run tube wells could irrigate much larger area of land more effectively. The first few tube wells were installed by the government. Soon, however, farmers started setting up private tube wells. As a result, by mid 1970s, the entire cultivated area of 200 hectares was irrigated. To grow more than one crop on a piece of land during the year is known as multiple cropping. It is the most common way of increasing production on a given piece of land. All farmers in Palampur grow at least two main crops. Many are growing potato as the third crop in the past 15 to 20 years. You have seen that one way of increasing production from the same land is by multiple cropping. The other way is to use modern farming methods for high yield. Yield is measured as crop produced on a given piece of land during a single season. Till the mid 1960s, the seeds used in cultivation were traditional ones with relatively low yields. Traditional seeds needed less irrigation. Farmers used cow dung and other natural manure as fertilizers. All these were readily available with them and did not have to buy them. The Green Revolution in the late 1960s introduced the Indian farmer to cultivate of wheat and rice using high yielding varieties of seeds, HYV seeds. Compared to the traditional seeds, the HYV seeds promise to produce much greater amount of grain on a single plant. As a result, the same piece of land would now produce far larger quantities of food grains than was possible earlier. HYV seeds, however, needed plenty of water and also chemical fertilizers and pesticides to produce best results. Higher yields were possible only from a combination of HYV seeds, irrigation, chemical fertilizers, pesticides, etc. Farmers of Punjab, Haryana, and western Uttar Pradesh were the first to try out the modern farming method in India. The farmers in these regions set up tube wells for irrigation and made use of HYV seeds, chemical fertilizers, and pesticides in farming. Some of them bought farm machinery like tractors and threshers, which made plowing and harvesting faster. They were rewarded with high yield of wheat. In Palampur, the yield of wheat grown from the traditional varieties was 1300 kg per hectare. With HYV seeds, the yield went up to 3200 kg per hectare. There was a large increase in the production of wheat. Farmers now had greater amounts of surplus wheat to sell in the markets. Third, will the land sustain? Land being a natural resource, it is necessary to be careful in its use. Scientific reports indicate that the modern farming method have overused the natural resource base. In many areas, green revolution is associated with the loss of soil fertility due to increased use of chemical fertilizers. Also, continuous use of groundwater for tube wells irrigation has led to the depletion of water table. Environmental resources like soil fertility and groundwater are built up over years. Once destroyed, it is very difficult to restore them. We must take care of the environment to ensure future development of agriculture. Fourth, how is land distributed between the farmers of Palampur? You must have realized how important land is for farming. Unfortunately, not all the people engaged in agriculture have sufficient land for cultivation. In Palampur, about one-third of the 450 families are landless. 150 families, most of them Dalits, have no land for cultivation. Of the remaining families who own land, 240 families cultivate small plots of land less than 2 hectares in size. Cultivation of such plots doesn't bring adequate income to the farmer's family. You can see the large number of small plots scattered around the village in the picture. These are cultivated by small farmers. On the other hand, more than half the area of village is covered by plots that are quite large in size. In Palampur, there are 60 families of medium and large farmers who cultivate more than 2 hectares of land. A few of large farmers have land extending over 10 hectares or more. Fifth, who will provide the labor? After land, labor is the next necessary factor for production. Farming requires a great deal of hard work. Small farmers, along with their families, cultivate their own fields. Thus, they provide the labor required for farming themselves. Medium and large farmers hire farm laborers to work on their fields. Farm laborers come either from landless families or families cultivating small plots of land. Unlike farmers, farm laborers do not have a right over the crops grown on the land. Instead, they are paid wages by the farmer for whom they work. Wages can be in cash or in kind. Example, crop. Sometimes laborers get meals also. Wages vary widely from region to region, from crop to crop, from one farm activity to another, like sowing and harvesting. There is also a wide variation in the duration of employment. A farm laborer might be employed on a daily basis or for one particular farm activity like harvesting or for the whole year. Dala is a landless farm laborer who works on daily wages in Palampur. This means he must regularly look for work. The minimum wages for a farm laborer set by the government is Rs 300 per day, March 2017. But Dala gets only Rs 160. There is heavy competition for work among the farm laborers in Palampur, so people agree to work for lower wages. Dala complains about his situation to Ramakali, who is another farm laborer. Both Dala and Ramakali are among the poorest peoples in the village. 6. The capital needed in farming. You have already seen that the modern farming method requires a great deal of capital, so that the farmer now needs more money than before. Most small farmers have to borrow money to arrange for the capital. They borrow from large farmers or the village money lenders or the traders who supply various inputs for cultivation. The rate of interest on such loans is very high. They are put to great distress to repay the loan. In contrast to small farmers, the medium and large farmers have their own saving from farming. They are thus able to arrange for the capital needed. How do these farmers have their own savings? You shall find answer in next section. 7th, sale of surplus farm products. Let us suppose that the farmers have produced wheat on their land using the three factors of production. The wheat is harvested and production is complete. What do the farmers do with the wheat? They retain a part of wheat for their family consumption and sell the surplus wheat. Small farmers like Savita and Gobind's son have little surplus wheat because their total production is small, and from this a substantial share is kept for their own family needs. So it is the medium and large farmers who supply wheat to market. You can see the bullock cart streaming into the market, each carrying loads of wheat. The traders at the market buy the wheat and sell it further to shopkeepers in the towns and cities. Tejpal Singh, the large farmer, has a surplus wheat of 350 quintal of wheat from all his land. He sells the surplus wheat at the Raiganj market and has good earnings. What does Tejpal Singh do with the earnings? Last year, Tejpal Singh had put most of the money in his bank account. Later, he used the savings for lending to farmers like Savita who were in need of a loan. He also used the saving to arrange for the working capital for farming in the next season. This year, Tejpal Singh plans to use his earning to buy another tractor. Another tractor would increase his fixed capital. Like Tejpal Singh, other large and medium farmers sell the surplus farm products. A part of the earnings is saved and kept for buying capital for the next season. Thus, they are able to arrange for the capital for farming from their own savings. Some farmers might also use the savings to buy cattle, trucks, or to set up shops. As we shall see, these constitute the capital for non-farm activities. Non-farm activities in Palampur. We have learnt about farming as the main production activity in Palampur. We shall now take a look at some of the non-farm production activities. Only 25% of the people working in Palampur are engaged in activities other than agriculture. First, dairy, the other common activity. Dairy is a common activity in many families of Palampur. People feed their buffaloes on various kinds of grass and the jawar and bajra that grows during the rainy season. The milk is sold in Raiganj, the nearby large village. Two traders from Shahapur town have set up collection cum chilling centers at Raiganj, from where the milk is transported to faraway towns and cities. Second, an example of small-scale manufacturing in Palampur. At present, less than 50 people are engaged in manufacturing in Palampur. Unlike the manufacturing that takes place in the big factories in the towns and cities, manufacturing in Palampur involves very simple production methods and are done on a small scale. They are carried out mostly at home or in the fields with the help of family laborers. Rarely are laborers hired. Third, the shopkeepers of Palampur. People involved in trade exchange of goods are not many in Palampur. The traders of Palampur are shopkeepers who buy various goods from wholesale market in the cities and sell them in the village. You will see small general stores in the village selling a wide range of items like rice, wheat, sugar, tea, oil, biscuit, soap, toothpaste, batteries, candles, notebooks, pen, pencil, even some cloth. A few of the families whose houses are close to the bus stand have used a part of the space to open small shops. They are eatables. Fourth, transport, a fast developing sector. There are variety of vehicles on the road connecting Palampur to Raiganj. Rickshawalas, tangawalas, jeep, tractors, truck drivers and people driving the traditional bullock cart and bogies are people in the transport services. They ferry people and goods from one place to another and in return get paid for it. The number of people involved in transport has grown over the last several years. Summary. Farming is the main production activity in the village. Over the years, there have been many important changes in the way farming is practiced. These have allowed the farmers to produce more crops from the same amount of land. This is an important achievement since land is fixed and scarce, but in raising production a great deal of pressure had been put on land and other natural resources. The new ways of farming needs less land but much more of capital. The medium and large farmers are able to use their own savings from production to arrange for capital during the next season. On the other hand, the small farmers, who are constitute about 80% of total farmers in India, find it difficult to obtain capital. Because of the small size of their plots, their production is not enough. The lack of surplus means that they are unable to obtain capital from their own savings and have to borrow. Besides the debt, many of the small farmers have to do additional work as farm laborers to feed themselves and their families. Labor being the most abundant factor of production, it would be ideal if new ways of farming used much more labor. Unfortunately, such a thing has not happened. The use of labor on farms is limited. The labor looking for opportunities is thus migrating to neighboring villages, towns, and cities. Some labor has entered the non-farm sector in the village. At present, the non-farm sector in the village is not very large. Out of every 100 workers in the rural areas in India, only 24 are engaged in non-farm activities. Though there is a variety of non-farm activities in the village, we have only seen a few examples. The number of people employed in each is quite small. In the future, one would like to see more non-farm production activities in the village. Unlike farming, non-farm activities require little land. People with some amount of capital can set up non-farm activities. How does one obtain this capital? One can either use his own saving but more often has to take a loan. It is important that loan be available at low rate of interest so that even people without savings can start some non-farm activity. Another thing which is essential for expansion of non-farm activities is to have markets where the goods and services produced can be sold. In Palampur, we saw the neighboring villages, towns, and cities provide the market for milk, jaggery, wheat, etc. As more villages get connected to town and cities through good roads, transport, and telephone, it is possible that the opportunities for non-farm activities in the village would increase in the coming years. Thank you. Let us meet in the next video with another interesting chapter.